Daniel Brunskill's missing time, still not practicing. Obviously, Jake Brendel, he's going to be starting. Who the hell's the backup? Well, let's allow John Lynch to talk about this. Then I want to hear from you, Ant.
So for Hans, I think I talked to him down there this morning. He got into his hotel room at 1:30, and he was in here early this morning, getting schooled up on the offense, working with Chris Furster, James Craig, and that group. Going to work, but when I mentioned his versatility, I think it will be just as that, and then, Brunskill's coming off this hamstring. We're hopeful that we have him for week one. You just never know with those things. And so having a backup center, someone who's done it, is very important. And so I think that's Blake did a lot of that last year for Cleveland. But he has played, left tackle. He has played right tackle. He's played both guards. And so we're excited about that. Those guys are extremely useful. As for Zakel, as Kyle calls him, Zakel J, he just is a guy who kept getting better every single day. And that's what you want in this league. Came from a smaller school, lesser competition. And so probably it was an eye-opener when he got here, just like it was at the Senior Bowl. I remember Adam talking about at the Senior Bowl, his day 2 was so much better than his day 1. And he's got a lot in his body. And he just kept looking like more and more of an NFL player with every given day. And we have really focused on him at the guards. We don't want to throw too much, but we do believe that he has center in his future, and he'll start snapping out here and, make that part of his repertoire under the thought that the more you can do, the better for him, the better for us. Poe, Poe, that was a tough one, man, because that guy's fight, you talk about a guy you respect, and just the joy he brings to playing football. I think it's palpable. You feel it, and we were hanging on for dear life. That was a hard call, and the guys love him. Like in the locker room, when he makes a play, everybody you hear it, and so we're just going to put him in and allow him to keep getting better, and.
He just keeps talking, man. That dude, which I don't mind, because I feel like the longer his response goes, the more you kind of learn. He gets a little bit off the cuff. But okay, here's this question: who the hell's the backup center? Do you call somebody up? Is it Blake Hance, Poe, Zakel, Sutherland? Who's backup center week 1?
Yeah, I think that's when it gets scary. Now, they did release the unofficial depth chart according to 49ers media, and they've got Hansel being the backup guard, and then you got Daniel Brunskill as the center, but I don't know if we're going to see Brunskill. I kind of even hinted when they were doing the 53, he might end up on IR. I think they're trying to prevent that to make sure he's ready. I think at this point, as scary as it is to say, it would probably be Keaton Sutherland. He's going to be the one that actually understands this offense if something was to happen to Brendel. Because I don't know if they can roll in there with a brand new guy that just came in. Yeah, he's going to have an understanding of the basics of the offense, but is he going to come in there and call protections? Are you going to be able to count on him to do that? I don't think you can, and I don't think Zakel is even ready. They're saying, he's going to start taking a few snaps out here pretty soon. He's just not ready, and I don't think he's going to be ready till 2023 to be a center. So it comes down to that, and I think they're just hoping Daniel Brunskill is going to be ready, but I think that's why Keaton Sutherland is on this practice squad. I think once Daniel Brunskill is healthy, don't be surprised if Sutherland doesn't get moved and they make another move to their practice squad, because I don't think they'll need him at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And the ceiling is just so low on Sutherland. Like, and I hate to say that, but like, to say he's topped out. You've already kind of seen it. If he was going to develop, he would have. Now, he said that this is something I thought was interesting. He said Blake Hance has gotten work at center. I can't find any record of said work at center during a game, during any season ever. What am I missing? Now, maybe he was listed as a backup center, but I've gone through PFF detailed positions. Last year, he got 623 snaps during the season, but 159 were at left tackle, 464 were at right tackle, 0 snaps at center, man. So what am I missing there? Because he keeps saying he's got work there and he's done it. Has he done it?
I mean, the only thing I can think is that it happened during the preseason or something that we can't go back and find, or, he's got inside knowledge of him at practice. Maybe they've kept their eye on him for a while. Other than that, I don't know, because you're right. I haven't been able to find it either. I was going to go back and find some of his clips of him playing center so I could evaluate it. There's just nothing to be found out there. and they're already moving him to the interior. So we know it wasn't a tackle thing. It's all about the inside, playing inside and having veteran depth. And I think it all comes down to Daniel Brunskill. I don't think if Brunskill was healthy and McGlinchey was healthy, I don't actually think they would have claimed Hance.
I agree with you. I agree. And usually, now Brunskill gets a little leeway because he's just been there for so long. Longest tenured offensive lineman. Was he there before? No, his rookie year was 2019.
Yeah.
So same time as McGlinchey. He's been there longer than Trent Williams has, though. But anyway, having said that, like usually if you don't play on Thursday, you're out. But Debo, Brunskill, I think falls in that category, not as far as like star talent, but just understanding the scheme and the system. I think if Brunskill can do anything on Friday, he can still suit up. But right now, man, I'm saying probably 85% chance he's not even going to dress. Would you agree with that? Like, what would you say if you had to put a number on it? What's the likelihood Brunskill even dresses and is active this week?
Yeah, I think 85% is pretty good. I mean, I almost go higher than that because when you're dealing with a hamstring and you haven't at least been able to go out there and do something, it always makes me worry. And Brunskill's not a guy that misses football games. So for him to miss practices, that means he's really hurt. And that's never a good sign, especially if you're going to count on a guy. Now, they do have a ton of depth at offensive line, and maybe they're going to have to rely on that. But I do think if there's any time for them to have an offensive line injury, it's against Chicago and then against Seattle. They definitely can get through it. But it does make me worry because if Brendel goes down, then the question marks really do come up. That center position is not a position you can just throw a flyer in there and throw someone in there and get it done. It's not Mike McGlinchey moving to guard, for a couple of series.
I remember that. That was like his first game.
Yeah. He gets kicked in there. He's like, oh, he played guard one time way back in the day. No worries, Yeah. I don't think you could do that.
It always happens early. It always happens early. Elijah Mitchell starting week 1. Alfred Morris starting week 1. We had 5 centers injured that one year. Like, it just seems like, it's just like, oh my gosh, how are we back at this again? And I would say center is the one position that they completely neglected this year. Donovan West, who was so bad that they didn't even try to bring him back. I think that's the switch. Like you said, if Brunskill comes back, I think Sutherland is moved off and maybe Donovan West is brought on. But man, he was so bad. Even his snaps were bad.
Yeah, and no one has signed him. I mean, that's the thing. Nobody has signed Donovan West, and people keep commenting to me all the time over there on YouTube, like, "Hey, what happened to Donovan West? Where's Donovan West?" I'm like, he's just nowhere. He's not on a football team right now.
He's not.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.